Let's focus on this story. Standoff between the city of Cape Town and occupants of two properties at the V&A waterfront is causing much tension. The city wants to evict occupants of Woodstock Hospital and the Helen Bowden nurses' home. Officials plan to develop the properties for the benefit of state-subsidized homeowners. For many years, the sites have been occupied by homeless or displaced residents. Now, the city of Cape Town says the current occupants are threatening to hinder their plans. eNCA reporter Ronald Masinda is following that story for us. He's joining us now live from Woodstock. Ronald, what's the latest you can tell us about this ongoing saga?
Bowden, very good morning to you. We are at the old Woodstock Hospital. It has since been renamed after anti-apartheid and civil rights activist Sesi Gul. This hospital has been an occupation for around 1,000 residents. In the background is a vegetable garden where many of them use as food supply. I'm going to walk across to one of our guests, and in the background, Bowden, is an old ward where nurses used to receive training, and obviously this place has since been a shadow of its former self. We are being told, Bowden, that this hospital was built around the early 1900s and was shut down around 25 years ago. It was only around 2017 where many people who are displaced residents and many of the homeless decided to use this hospital as their shelter. One of them, I'm joined by Karen Hendricks. She has been living here since 2018. Karen, thank you so much for your time. You are quite familiar with the area of Woodstock. Tell us what forced you to move here.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. What forced me to move here was that I was evicted from a rental home that I'd been living in for many years in Woodstock. I grew up aware of the struggle for housing, and I also learnt about the gentrification that has taken place in Woodstock since the early 2000s. And so I grew up aware of the displacement of poor and working class people from Woodstock, which is a suburb in the inner city. But I lived here in Woodstock all my life. My family has called Woodstock home for 4 generations.
All right. Karen, lastly, the City of Cape Town says that this year will be a year when they will try to redevelop this particular building so that some of the beneficiaries will have their own place to stay. How will the people who are currently living here approach the situation?
So the people who are currently living here have made this occupation, this is the only home that they have at the moment. It's the only home that they have at the moment, because when people are evicted from rental housing, the City of Cape Town does not have a plan for evictees. And so evictees are normally given alternative accommodation on the periphery of the city, normally 30 to 35 kilometers out of the city. That's far away from economic and social opportunities that the inner city or the CBD has to offer. And so for people living here, it would benefit them, and it should benefit them, because many of them have been on this waiting list for decades, and people cannot live in a waiting list. They have to live in housing, and the City of Cape Town has promised housing on these 11 sites. This Sesi Gul house, or the old Woodstock Hospital, was one of the 11 sites that were earmarked for affordable housing, and it should benefit those who are waiting for the much needed housing. And those are most or many of the occupiers who live here. They should be beneficiaries to a state or government built housing.
Karen, thank you so much for your time. Well, worrying times for residents like Karen Hendricks here, Bowden, as there's no knowing whether or not they will be evicted this year. We do know that the backlog on the City of Cape Town's housing list has now stretched to well over 300,000, and many people are still wanting to live in areas like this. We will be speaking to the City of Cape Town Maycom member for Human Settlements, Mr. Malusi Boy, for further just after 10 o'clock this morning.
Thank you very much, Ronald Masinda, there in Woodstock in Cape Town.